Good morning, everyone. The prayer will be offered by the delegate from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If we
You're
could please
welcome.
pray. Thank you. Could we please pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day and giving us another opportunity to do your will. And Lord, we just ask you to give us the wisdom, the knowledge, and the peace to do your work. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Give people a second to come in. All right. Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. There being 124 members present, the House is now in session. The clerk will read the journal from the previous day.
Annapolis, Maryland, February 15th, 2026.
Recognizing the Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So much be considered the reading of the journal.
So order petitions, memorials, and other papers. We have a resolution, but we're waiting for some people, so we're going to give it a second, and we're going to start with a calendar. And we'll just have to interrupt it when they arrive. We're going to go on to consent calendar of introductory House Bill number 56. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 1597, Delegate Hill, House Rules.
Recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So much be considered the reading of House Bills 1597 through 1603.
Hearing no objection, the bills are read the first time and referred to the appropriate committees. The clerk will read the bond initiatives and the committee assignment.
Introductory House Bond Initiatives number 44, February 19th, 2026, referred to Appropriations. Introductory House Bond Initiatives number 45, February 19th, 2026, referred to Appropriations.
Thank you. Quorum call. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Anyone in the back? All right. Thank you. The clerk will take the call. There being 129 members present, the House is still in session. We're going to take a pause. We have a resolution. They have arrived. I'm going to recognize the delegate from Prince George's County. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. If you have noticed a powerful current of red and white flowing with purpose through the halls of this historic State House today, you are witnessing leadership in motion. Today is Delta Days in Annapolis. The extraordinary women of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated have arrived, and they are scholars, servants, strategists, advocates, and change agents. Founded in 1913 on the campus of Howard University, Delta Sigma Theta has stood for over a century at the intersection of sisterhood, scholarship, and social action. These women do not simply visit Annapolis, they come prepared, and we come informed and ready to engage on policy and to protect progress. Each year, SOARs from across the great state of Maryland gather here to sharpen their understanding of our legislative priorities and to ensure that the voices of our communities are not whispered, but are actually a strong and powerful voice all throughout the state. Their presence today is not ceremonial, but consequential. Madam Speaker, permission to use the delegates' names.
Permission granted.
Will the following esteemed colleagues and sorors please rise as your name is called? Delegate Charlotte Crutchfield. Delegate Latoya Congola. Delegate Cheryl Pastor. Delegate Stephanie Smith. Delegate Denise Rogers. Oh, Roberts. Why did I say Rogers? Sorry. Delegate Melissa Wells. And myself, Delegate Nicole Williams. And colleagues, I ask that you turn your attention to our distinguished guests in the front as we proudly recognize Marguerite DeVoe, who is our statewide social action coordinator, as well as Sora Aaron Brown, who's also one of our statewide social action coordinators as well. And we also have joining with us, I know there's various SOARs, I think will be joining us shortly in the gallery, including our 16th past national president, SOAR Thelma Daly. We honor their leadership, we respect their advocacy, we celebrate their legacy of service, and to the women of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, thank you for your discipline, dedication, and determination to move Maryland forward, and welcome to the State House.
Will the reading clerk please read the resolution in full?
Be it hereby known to all that the House of Delegates of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to Maryland chapters of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated in recognition of 113 years of carrying out the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority mission of sisterhood, scholarship, service, and social action throughout the state of Maryland. The entire membership extends best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution to be presented on this 19th day of February 2026.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations to you both. All right, thank you. We're gonna go through this again. Congratulations, ladies. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker,
The clerk will call the roll. Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 members present, the House is still in session. Calendar of third reading, House Bill number 6. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 7, State Board of Examiners for Audiologists, Hearing Aid Dispensers, Speech Language Pathologists, and Music Therapists authority to issue limited licenses to practice music therapy.
House Bill 7 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 133 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 7, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 42, Health Occupation State Board of Massage Therapy Examiners Revisions.
House Bill number 42 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker,
Thank you. Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 132 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 42, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 55, Vehicle Laws Speed Monitoring Systems Residential Districts.
House Bill number 55 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate?
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
I just have a question for the bill sponsor.
The floor leader, with the floor leader, please stand up. Thank you.
Floor leader.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Doing great. Yourself?
Good. Thanks for asking. Happy Thursday.
Indeed.
Just looking over the little bit of the text of the bill here about applying a statewide bill. Can you give specific areas that this talks about? I see it talks about residential districts.
Yes.
I know we talked previously about school areas, high danger areas, pedestrian crossing, things like that.
So the subject of this bill is speed enforcement. Right now, in the state of Maryland, 3 jurisdictions have authorization to use speed camera monitoring on high volume arterials. Those 3 jurisdictions are Prince George's, Anne Arundel, and Montgomery. In addition, speed cameras can also be used in school zones. They can be used. They may or may not be, but they can be used in school zones. What this bill does is it expands statewide authorization for jurisdictions, should they so choose, to use speed camera monitoring on high volume arterials, most likely those that have been identified as unsafe, high risk, high crash incidents.
Yep, thank you for explaining that. I see on page 2 of the bill, it speaks about 35 mile an hour zones. Is that correct? Is that the only area that it would apply to?
That's a great question. Yes, it's 35. So the issue is, what's the threshold for imposing a citation or penalty when a person is speeding? If a person's passing another car and they accelerate 2 miles above the speed limit, we all have to, that's normal. But a driver who's speeding 35 miles an hour, up to 35 miles an hour or over, above the speed limit, that is a citable offense. So imagine you're in a 25 mile per hour, sorry, to the gentleman, let me correct myself. The speed maximum speed threshold is 35 miles an hour or under. But to my earlier attempt to make a point, imagine you're in a 25 mile an hour speed limit zone. You're in a school zone. A 35 mile an hour speed would be 60 miles an hour in a school zone. That's not safe. So jurisdictions will be enabled under this bill to use speed cameras to enforce the speed limit, should they so choose.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. Now, I see on page 3 where it talks about institution of higher education. Does that include all public schools, private schools, colleges, universities? Is that?
So higher education refers to colleges and universities, institutions that grant degrees, post-secondary degrees. So at this time, institutions of higher ed already have the authority to impose speed camera enforcement, and that's a good thing.
Sure is.
That's current law.
So does this become enabling legislation for the local jurisdictions in the counties that don't currently have it?
Yes, and that's a wonderful option. Yes,
So then each county can decide if they want to utilize this program.
yes.
Okay. Thank you for answering my questions.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
I can
Madam
talk about
Speaker.
this all day.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore County. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good morning. Could I ask the floor leader a couple questions, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm a little confused. You said 35 miles an hour over the speed limit, but I don't think that's what you meant. Or maybe I didn't hear
I
you.
misspoke, and I
Okay.
appreciate you flagging that so that I can clarify
Thank
for
you.
the record. Let me be clear. So for roads that have a maximum speed limit up to 35 miles an hour, speed camera enforcement can be used.
And then how much over the speed limit do you need to be going?
12 miles an hour over the speed limit. So,
Okay.
so
I
hopefully
thought it
answered your
could not
question.
possibly be 35 miles an hour over the speed limit. That would be crazy.
That would
Okay,
be,
so
but
I'm-
it happens.
Sure,
it actually
but-
happens.
right,
And we
but-
know it happened, for example, on the highway where 6 hardworking road
Sure.
construction workers
But
were
I don't think
killed.
that's what this bill's about, because isn't this bill about county roads?
This bill enables local jurisdictions to choose, if they wish, to use speed camera monitoring to keep drivers and everyone else safe.
So is it overstepping local authority? Would some people say this might be overstepping local authority, where we used to have to come here to our delegation and Baltimore County delegation, they would ask for speed cameras and then we would say no. So this now just says you don't have to go to your delegation anymore.
The subject of the bill gives local jurisdictions the authority, should they choose, like other jurisdictions, for example, Anne Arundel, Prince George's, to use speed camera monitoring where they decide there are areas, arterials, busy roads with high risk. It doesn't impose a requirement. There is no mandate. What it does actually is what locals generally want: more options should they choose. In fact, the support for this bill came from organizations like MML, the Maryland Municipal League, like MACO, the Maryland Association of Counties. They're in full support of this bill. The Baltimore County Police Department, Baltimore County government, and groups like the Columbia Gas of Maryland all chose to support this bill.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, because then they don't have to come back here to our delegations and ask for that authority. We're just giving it to them. So was there any language in this bill to direct where these speed camera ticket fines go? Or do they just go into the general fund of each jurisdiction that chooses to put as many cameras as they'd like?
That's a great question. Typically, the revenues from speed camera citations are used by local jurisdictions to pay the administrative costs for the speed camera program. It's called administrative,
How much does Baltimore County make?
I forget the term, but jurisdictions typically use revenues to pay for the cost of running the program. Any additional revenues that beyond paying for the program are typically directed into the general fund of the jurisdiction, where their local systems or local authorities decide what happens next.
I'm sorry, Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the floor, the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the subcommittee chair for defending this bill on the floor. I know it can be quite controversial. I just want to clarify that the funds after the admin costs have to go back into public safety in the jurisdictions. That is a state rule we have set. That is not changing as a result of this legislation. What is changing is, instead of, I don't know, Carroll County having to come to me, a delegate from Montgomery County, and asking permission to do something, Carroll County has to go to Westminster and say, we want to do this program in our county, and then it's up to the county to decide whether or not they want to do it. So instead of talking to some random Montgomery County delegate about speed safety in Carroll County, the people in Carroll County can go to their local elected officials in Westminster and make that determination.
In Baltimore County, when this was brought up for numerous years, The Baltimore County had to come to Baltimore County delegation, and then you, my good friend from Montgomery County, would not pass the bill unless there was a delegation letter. So yes, you got a say, but only with a delegation letter approving it. So thank you for your comments. I will just speak on the bill and say this is abdicating local authority here in Annapolis, and the state is now going to give the ability to proliferate these speed cameras everywhere. And while the fines go into the general fund, they won't be used for traffic calming. Those are things that we talked about in the Baltimore County delegation prior to this bill, where we could have directed those speed camera revenues into slowing traffic down. So, for those reasons, I'm going to be voting against the bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Frederick County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The talk about the fines just brought up some questions. If the floor leader could answer some questions about the fines.
Yes.
So in the fiscal note, I did note it used to be a flat fee for the fines. We recently raised that. It started in October. So now the maximum fine would be, is it the 425? Is that $425?
Thanks you for your question. The penalty structure was redefined effective October 1st, 2025. Exceeding the speed limit by 40 miles per hour or more is subject to a maximum penalty of $425.
Okay, thank you. And then, did you guys receive, when you were reviewing the bill, did you see receive any information about did revenues go up from the change in the fee structure, or was that significant to, because of the increase in the fines, did that actually stop more people from speeding in those areas? Was it a deterrent?
So the use of speed cameras for monitoring and enforcing speed limits is a well-established strategy. It is an approach that is recommended by the Federal Highway Safety Agency. Well-established, lots of evidence to show that it keeps people alive.
I understand that,
right.
But yeah, I just didn't know about, like, from the revenue. I don't.
So in terms of it,
yeah,
and you're right. You're taking me back to your question.
Yeah.
Let me answer that.
So
in terms of the revenues, there's not a lot of data on the revenues equation yet, but what we do know is, for example, on Highway I-83, which runs in Baltimore City and Baltimore County, since speed cameras have been implemented there, the incidence of crashes has declined, and the incidence of citations has also declined. So the speed cameras are working to change driver behavior, reduce crashes, and keep more people alive. But I think it's important to your question, are speed cameras changing the revenue and expense picture for jurisdictions? We don't have a lot of data yet, but what we are aware of so far is that there's not a significant impact.
And the reason why I ask is because two things. One, those that we're getting into significant amount of money. It used to be just a $40 flat fee. And when you say it goes to the driver, does it really go to the driver, or does it go to the owner of the vehicle?
That's a great question. It goes to the owner of the vehicle.
Right.
Because the citation is issued on the license plate.
Correct. So it's hard for me when I go through, we have a lot of speed cameras on our highways. Of course, we're protecting our state highway workers, and I understand the intent. I'm trying to figure out if the raising of the fees was more of a deterrent, or if we could go back to a flat fee, because these are significant amounts that don't actually go to the perpetrator in this case. They go to the owner of the vehicle. And I have no way of knowing when I pass a speed camera sign and I obviously see from my speed and what it's flashing that there's a disconnect there, because usually you have what's flashing your speed, and sometimes it's way off. Sometimes the camera accuracy is not there. But I know when I was driving, I know what that speed camera said, and I know what my speed was. And I've also often kind of checked that in. Okay, well, if I get a ticket in the mail, I'm calling because I want that check because it was not right. I was not speeding. I was not doing anything wrong. But if my son is driving, I don't know that, but I'm getting the ticket because I'm the owner. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a flawed camera there, and I don't know if he knows to actually check it. So, or if I let someone borrow my car, which I have done, when family members or someone are in need. So when we are increasing significant revenue from this, I absolutely understand the safety of it. And for the kids, and especially school zones, I've seen some horrendous behavior. I get it. But I just wonder if by increasing this to the statewide level with having the increase in fees and the accountability and knowing the faulty camera system, if we're opening it up for more of a revenue stream versus a safety stream. And that's my only question. And I'd love to see more data on that. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to speak on the bill and why I'm proud to support this. I'm very proud of the work that my colleagues on the Environment and Transportation Committee did on this bill. I'm proud to support this bill because it enables our local jurisdictions to make these decisions that are better for them. Like my chairman said, you know, himself, a representative from Montgomery County, is making decisions about roads that I drive all the time that he, for as far as I know, has never driven. We're enabling local jurisdictions, we're enabling the county council to make these decisions that are best for the residents and the people that actually drive on those roads. And I'll also say, like, we're talking about fees and the camera structures. This bill is remarkably simple. It's actually only 2 letters. It's deleting some text and adding the word "on," and it's expanding this authority that already exists in 3 jurisdictions. And again, I think it just makes sense. When I go out and I'm knocking doors and talk to my constituents, one of the #1 things I hear from them is people speeding down their residential roads, that they're concerned for safety. They ask for speed cameras, they ask for speed bumps. And what I have to tell them is there's this whole convoluted process where they need to petition the county council, to petition us, to petition the Environment and Transportation Committee to then make these decisions and enable this. I mean, we've heard bills multiple years in the committee about a road in Prince George's County that, again, I've never driven on. I don't think I'm qualified to make that decision. I think the Prince George's County Council is far more qualified to make that decision. So thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll leave it there, but that's why I'm proud to support this bill.
Thank you. Recognizing the gentleman from Carroll.
Muchas gracias, Madam Speaker. I want to start off by stating that there is actually a member in this chamber who lost a spouse to someone speeding and running a stop sign. So this is a grave issue for us to consider. The second point I want to make is I am a former Carroll County Commissioner. And as such, one of the greatest frustrations I had is the lack of autonomy of our local governments. And any measure that'll give autonomy closer to the people, where the proverbial rubber meets the road, the better off those local officials can govern. And that this is an enabling legislation that allows the discretion to those individual jurisdictions as to whether to implement it or not. And I think that's truly the essence of freedom of the local governments, and therefore I'll be supporting this bill. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome. Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Could the floor leader rise for a quick question? Good morning.
Good morning.
Is there anything in the bill that speaks to fencing off these funds so that they're not diverted at the local level to the general fund?
No, there's nothing in the bill that refers to that.
We've had
Is
a
there?
problem with that in this chamber,
Ask
so
my
I
chair.
wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
I yield to my chair.
Yeah, if I can clarify, Madam Speaker.
Yes,
Sorry.
recognizing the chair of the committee.
Thank you for the question, Delegate. The existing law that will continue to apply is that it can be used for admin and then public safety. So it can't just go into the general fund to balance the budget or to pay for other important things we might all like education, healthcare. It has to be limited to those purposes. And so if they don't do that, that's a violation of the law.
Okay, great. I know that there's a concern about the diversion of these funds, and we've had a problem with that in this chamber. So I just wanted to make sure. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Will the
You're
floor
welcome.
leader answer a few questions, if you would, please?
Good morning.
Morning. I know we've had a lot of conversations about speed cameras. Will they be any kind of notification put up? Is this bill address any kind of notification before the cameras are put up, or when they're put up?
Yes, it does. Thank you for the question. This bill says that locals electing to use speed cameras for enforcement must, and this is existing law, they have to give a period of notice, they have to have public hearings with public comment, they will consult whatever experts they choose to decide where to put the cameras, etc. So there is a public process, and that's existing law, and it continues.
Okay, my second question is, I know we talked about actually warning drivers with a blinking, you're speeding 35 mile an hour, whatever. Will that be part of this, or to warn drivers, hey, you're speeding? Because people get, they get distracted. I'm sorry, but
yeah, that's
things
true.
happen.
We all do. I got distracted this morning myself.
You didn't get a ticket,
there's
did
nothing
you?
in the bill with the bill is silent on that. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Recognizing the majority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a very quick question for the floor leader on the bill.
Good morning.
Good morning. Just sort of catching the feedback here about some additional thoughts that some of our colleagues have about what they would like to see happen in their counties, either with restricting the use of funds or further limitations. Is it the case that the counties may continue to have a conversation to further restrict the use of funds in those counties?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to speak to the comments of the gentleman from Anne Arundel. I think he asks the best question. And there's a little bit of trickery therein. In Baltimore County, last year we explored funds being diverted for public safety. And what actually happens is funds from speed cameras supplant, not supplement, funds in local government public safety. So even though the revenue from a speed camera might go to public safety, it doesn't result in the actual increase in the budget. So while I'd like to think that speed camera revenues would go towards things like additional speed bumps, that's not what actually happens in the implementation of speed cameras locally. I wish that were the case. I brought a bill, a Baltimore County delegation bill, to do that last year. Word came back from the committee that they weren't interested in taking it. So maybe going forward, we can explore closing that loophole so that if a resident of any one of our communities wants speed bumps, which is the real solution for addressing speed and public safety, that these speed camera revenues can be guaranteed to supplement and not supplant funding that's already there. Thank you so much.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
And thank you to the floor leaders doing an excellent job. I want to ask some clarifying questions to the floor leader, please.
Good morning.
I just want to be clear. Let's speak from a place of equity. So currently, this provision only applies, if we don't pass this bill, to 3 counties in the state.
Correct.
And isn't it so, by passing this bill, we are giving every other county the same authority that Anne Arundel, Montgomery, and Prince George's County currently has?
Yes, that's true.
Thank you, Madam Floor Leader. And finally, I'd ask the question of those who are asking questions about what Anne Arundel County, Montgomery County, and Prince George's County are doing with their funds if we're so worried about it. It seems that it is working okay, then I think it can work for everyone else. Thank you so much. I'll be supporting this bill.
All right. Seeing no further debate, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk would take the call. There being 98 votes in the affirmative and 35 votes in the negative, House Bill number 55, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 164, State Buildings, State Highways, Collection and Disposal of Yard Waste.
House Bill number 164 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 96 votes in the affirmative and 38 votes in the negative, House Bill number 164, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 177, Vehicle Laws, Bicycles, Play Vehicles, and Unicycles, Crosswalks.
House Bill 177 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the minority leader.
Madam Speaker, if the floor leader would rise for a question. Up, you're back. Does this have anything to do with the speed limits or speed cameras for my unicycle? Because I just can't tolerate that. I mean, unicycle, I can't get up to very high speed, and I just want to make sure that we're not doing anything wrong here about my unicycle.
Point of personal privilege, I support your right to get around on a unicycle, Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you.
This bill doesn't have anything to do with speed enforcement of unicycles or any other mode of transportation.
Oh, I thought I heard it all. Recognizing the delegate from Hartford County.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Don't have any questions about my unicycle.
That's
I would
great.
never ride a unicycle. But I do just want to check with the floor leader. I see that we've passed this bill previously, and I'm just wondering if there are any changes from last year. It passed unanimously, but I'm just concerned if there's any big changes, or what does it do now if there is?
Thanks for the question. This bill is in the same posture as we passed it last year.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Seeing no other debate, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 134 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 177, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 272, Food Establishments, Lavatory Requirement, and On-Farm Food Service Facility License.
House Bill 272 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 3 votes in the negative, House Bill number 272, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. House Bill, third reading calendar number 7. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 274, State Board of Environmental Health Specialists, Sunset Extension.
House Bill 274 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 134 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 274, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 278, Human Services, Department of Aging and Commission on Aging, the Longevity Ready Maryland Act.
House Bill number 278 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. How are you?
I'm doing well. You?
I'm doing well, thank you. Could I ask the floor leader a few questions, please?
Would the floor leader please rise? And
Sure.
she's up.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. So I just had a few questions. I was digging through the bill here. I'm just curious. So I'm looking at multiple points throughout the bill. It looks like we have taken out the term seniors and inserted the term older adults. Why, and is there some sort of term of art here? Is there a legal reason why older adults as opposed to seniors? I'm just trying to understand why that change.
It's the more commonly accepted term. There's what's called the Older Americans Act at the federal level, so we're just being compliant with the language that's used there.
Okay, is that defined anywhere, either in the bill or what's the definition of that in the federal law, because is there some sort of age difference? You know, sometimes when I think about senior, it's either like 62 or 65. I think about these older communities that we see springing up all over the place. That's usually like 55. Is there an age difference here between older adult and senior?
It's not part of the language of the bill, but it's commonly accepted that the range is 55 to 60 is when the starting point is.
Okay. I'd had another question as well. It looks like I'm on kind of page 3 of the bill. There's a whole list of things that it appears that we're looking at: income maintenance, public health, mental health, housing and urban development, employment, education, recreation, and rehabilitation of seniors with physical or mental disabilities. Aren't those things that are already occurring in the Department of Aging? So I'm just curious why that's necessary here if we're already kind of looking at that stuff in the Department of Aging.
So this bill is codifying an executive order from last summer. So there's really, this bill is codifying what the agency is already doing.
Okay.
So to that extent, you are correct.
Okay. Could you also kind of walk me through, it looks like we're setting up a board here. Could you walk me through that process a little bit of the board that is created here, just so I can understand that a little bit better?
Sure. So the Commission on Aging that's under the Department of Aging has existed for decades. But the change that we're seeing in codifying Longevity Ready Maryland is that it's going from 11 members to 20 members. And that increase reflects the urgency of the situation and that we have a huge demographic change that's existing not only in our state but across the country. And so in order for the Department of Aging to fully understand the constituencies it's serving, it needs to modernize the membership of the commission.
Okay. Was there any discussion in the committee about the size of this commission? I mean, I'm reading 19 members here. That's a pretty big board. Seems kind of unwieldy to me. I mean, was there any thought given to that size? It's really big.
There was no discussion about that. It seemed that the committee had confidence that the Department of Aging would be able to staff a commission of that size.
Okay. And what was the rationale for striking? It looked like originally in the language that we were supposed to have at least 7 members that were 55 years or older. It looks like we've removed that and put a whole bunch of other categories in there, but those categories don't guarantee someone that's an older adult be on the commission. So it looks like we've actually struck the language that would guarantee at least certain seats on there to older adults.
Sure. Well, I think, as I said earlier, it's really important that we modernize the commission to reflect the reality of our aging populations. And it's important that we reflect the perspectives of caretakers who could be in the sandwich generation. There's many caretakers who are elderly themselves, but we need to have those perspectives included. We also added veterans, at least one veteran in there. And that's not bound by age.
Sure. Madam Speaker, on the bill, we're taking older adults out of a commission here. I have a daughter who's 19 years old. Her definition of an older adult is someone that is maybe 30 years old, right? Unfortunately, she thinks that that's an old person. I'm very concerned that when we're creating a commission designed to look at elderly and aging issues, that we're taking off of that commission anyone that may be in that category. Now, maybe we'll get someone there, maybe we won't. I think that that's a big mistake to remove that, and for those reasons, I'm going to be a no on the bill.
Recognizing the Minority Whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Yeah, similar to what the previous speaker was talking about, I think we do have an aging population. I think that's important to recognize that, and we need to do what we can to support them. I think the baby boomers was one of the largest populations in our society. But the issue I have with this bill, and I think it was just alluded to, is that on page 7, line 20, you're striking the requirement to have a majority of the members be in an aging population to reflect the values of our aging community, and instead inserting a whole bunch of other categories unrelated to aging, quite frankly. And I just think that's disingenuous, not to the intent of the sponsor of the bill, of course, but I think the focus needs to be on the seniors. We need to have a commission that is solely focused on the seniors instead of focused on all these other categories listed on page 7, line 20. Matter of fact, because you're increasing the size of the commission, it appears that you're taking away what was a majority of members had to be, whatever the new term you're calling them, but elderly or above 55, no offense to my colleague here. But instead, you're taking away a commission that was required to be majority senior and instead making it something else, apparently. So for those reasons, and only those reasons, I'll be voting against this bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome. Recognizing the gentleman from Western Maryland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Permission to use a delegate's name? No, just kidding. I do.
I'm going to deny it. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I knew you would. I do have a question for the floor
seriously,
leader.
go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning. Just kind of a follow-up on the minority whip's question. Taking off 7 members that are 55 or older and replacing them with reflecting age, race, ethnicity, disability, gender identity, sexual orientation, immigrant heritage, lived and professional experience, and regional geographic representation. It's easy to ask someone if they're 55 or above, but how statewide do you determine that those different categories are fairly represented? I mean, do we know that there's 10% of the population that's disabled, or how is that representation going to be determined?
Sure. So I would refer you to the first line of the clause that you're referring to the extent practical, right? And so though the language requiring 7 members be at least 55, it says to the extent practicable, commission membership shall reflect the age, right? So that gets us to our senior population, race, ethnicity, disability, gender identity, and so forth and so forth. So that the concern about eliminating senior members from a commission on aging, I don't think is particularly relevant because it's reflected in the following language.
So then on, I guess just a question of curiosity, how are all those different categories going to be determined? Are we putting that on an application?
No.
So how do we get to that representation? I guess to the extent practical is pretty broad. So.
Yeah, well, people on the commission are appointed by the governor in the same manner that every commission has an appointment process. So that's not creating any new appointment processes.
Okay, thank you.
Recognizing the majority whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're
question
welcome.
for the floor leader.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. We're going to talk about this bill. Could you give some insight about why there was an expansion of stakeholders for the commission?
Yeah. Again, as I said earlier, we have a huge demographic shift in our state and across our country, and it's really important that to have modern services and understand the care that is needed for this population that is many are expected to live upwards to 100, which is a very new thing in our society. We need to make sure that we fully understand the whole spectrum of care and services they need. One of the hallmarks of the Longevity Ready Maryland executive order and now bill is that it creates an ecosystem for longevity. So that means taking into account wellness, that takes into account affordability, being able to afford to live to 100. And so it's really a holistic approach. And if you're going to excel at that type of approach, you need to have informed insight, and that's what this commission does.
And the bill also, since it's codifying the executive order, would continue to build out the, basically the policies that all of us one day would hope to have, right? I think the Secretary of Aging said 50% of 5th graders will live to 100. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's pretty astounding when you think about it. And as you were talking, it raised a point that I haven't made yet, and that is this whole work product is the result of 2 years of stakeholder engagement. So none of this is willy-nilly. It's all been very carefully thought out, and these are updates that are coming after, I think, thousands, if not hundreds of stakeholder conversations over the past 2 years.
And then last question, we talk about urgency and meeting the moment a lot on this floor. Isn't it true that Maryland has some of the oldest population in the country?
It's true.
Thank you.
Okay. Recognizing the vice chair of the committee.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I will be voting in favor of this bill, and I'll be voting in favor because it represents a new way of thinking about how we deliver services as our population ages. It is, as the floor leader said, it is the product of 2 years of work that was actually funded by the federal government. It is a project that is national, and the design of the project is to make sure that all aspects of senior, older adult living are considered. The activities of the Department of Aging, as they were defined, will continue as they were defined. However, under the program of Longevity Ready Maryland, they are engaging with all of the other agencies, with housing to talk about housing for aging, with healthcare to talk about healthcare, with workforce, the labor department to talk about workforce issues, because some of us are working longer than we used to. So the reason this is an expanding commission is because we're dealing with all of these other issues, and they have to be represented. In terms of the concept of removing the the requirement for the 5 older Americans, I would guide you to what precedes that. One director of an area agency on aging serving as the president of the Maryland Association of Area Agencies on Aging. So these are people who currently have experience with dealing with the issues of older adults. Then there's 3 representatives of organizations located in the state that advocate for older adults and caregivers. Again, knowledge, experience into the areas and support of older adults across the spectrum of needs. 5 experts on aging representing the disciplines of healthcare, technology, academia, innovation, and the private sector and philanthropy. As someone who's aging in Maryland, I'm really happy that we are focusing on all aspects of my life as I proceed down this path. So thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to speak.
The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 102 votes in the affirmative and 32 votes in the negative, House Bill number 278, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 286, Vehicle Laws Ignition Interlock System Program, required participation.
Thank you. House Bill 286 is on 3rd reading and final passage.
Madam Speaker.
1 second, let me just finish reading. It's okay. Sometimes I make a mistake too up here. Is there any debate? Go ahead, recognizing the gentleman from Carroll County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
My pleasure.
Sorry about being a little too quick there. I just had a few questions for the floor leader.
Good morning.
Hi there. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Could you just explain what this bill is doing?
Sure. This bill will, it allows for an individual to participate in the Ignition Interlock System Program as a condition of modification of a suspension or revocation of a license. It also, currently only individuals younger than 21 are subject to this requirement, but this actually will allow folks who are younger than 21 to participate in the program.
So folks who already are under 21 already, this is an option. This is allowing folks who are over 21.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. I was wondering, I'd introduced a bill maybe 2 years ago, and I was just wondering if, because this is obviously related to alcohol, I was just wondering if there's been any work on with marijuana, with cannabis. Obviously, with the alcohol, there's the BAC limit of 0.08 0.08%. I was just wondering, do you know if MDOT's been working on anything, or if there's been any talk of establishing a THC limit in your blood for cannabis?
This bill obviously does not touch that, and I don't know specifically what they're working on, because I don't believe we have the technology yet. But I don't recall anything coming through the committee with respect to measurement of cannabis.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and I recall the same thing from 2 years ago, is that the technology is not quite there.
Right.
Yeah, I know that I was reading with the terrible situation that happened on 695. I don't know if it was maybe about 2 years ago, that it was reported that the woman who killed the six workers, 6 contractors on the road, that she had cannabis in her system. And I'm certainly not opposed to cannabis. I mean, I think Maryland voters spoke pretty loud and clear, and including in conservative counties, that they want recreational and medical marijuana. But I do have concerns about that we haven't really done anything yet about establishing a cannabis, or not cannabis, a THC limit. But I just wanted to ask you. Sorry. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 133 votes in the affirmative and 1 vote in the negative, House Bill number 286, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 330, Maryland Legal Services Corporation Board of Directors membership.
House Bill number 330 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Would the floor leader rise for a couple clarifying questions?
Sure. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Great to see my former judiciary colleague. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Is this a paid position?
This is, as I understand it, is not. This is a volunteer board, and it would just be adding 3 members.
I see that. Is there a stipend that is involved for the members?
I do not have that answer.
The reason I ask, I'm looking at the fiscal note, and it doesn't have much explanation here on how this could affect the bottom line.
And I'm going to take from the fiscal note that there is no impact to the budget. There's no stipend on this particular board.
All right. 100% voluntary.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
You got it. Thank you.
Recognizing the minority whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You're up already. Great. So I did see that. So it's an increase of 3 members in total, and one of them is an attorney, and the other 2 are non-lawyers. So what is the purpose of adding, I don't know, a 2-to-1 ratio of why are we increasing the membership? What are we trying to accomplish here?
So the background on this is that the MLSC has increased its scope of work considerably since its founding.
Yeah.
And with that, they believe that there's a need to expand the board to get additional perspectives. As the number and diversity of programs and grantees have increased, the MLSC advises that it's become increasingly difficult for a 9-member board to carry out these duties at the depth and level of engagement required. Expanding the board to 12 members would distribute the workload more equitably and allow MLSC to benefit from a broader range of perspectives and expertise. All said, this is just a concept of adding more voices in the room.
Okay. And listen, I don't disagree that the world certainly needs less lawyers. I agree with that. But what is the scope of work that has increased, that they're trying to address? What type of work is that?
So the number of grantees. So the MLSC grantees has grown from 5 organizations in 1986 to more than 50 today. Okay. So it's grown significantly. And most of their work is done through providing grants to organizations.
Are these, is it in the legal world? Is that the type of work they're doing? or-
Generally, yes. And I know that they've also expanded the type of volunteer services that they provide.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for answering those questions.
Wonderful. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 97 votes in the affirmative and 36 votes in the negative, House Bill number 330, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 427, Task Force on Responsible Use of Natural Psychedelic Substances Extension.
House Bill number 427 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Will the floor
You're
leader
welcome.
please rise for a couple questions?
She is up.
Oh.
Right over here. Hi.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you.
As you know, I was on this committee before I was redistricted to the outstanding new Glee Committee, which is in desperate need of new chairs, by the way.
You were now redistricted? Oh, the chair.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you have a second profession or something, making jokes? No, just kidding.
I do have a serious question. So this was in our committee. I remember this from last year. We passed it, and this is to extend the sunset on the task force, or to expand the task force.
Thank you for the question. It's just to give them one extra year to finish out their work, so it's just to extend it for 1 year. Not to expand it in any way. We're not changing their mandate or anything. We're just giving them 1 more year to finish out the reporting.
Yeah, it was a very interesting bill last year. Do we have any results from the task force?
Yeah, they gave us a great workup in committee about all the work that they've done, and all of their research has been published, and they have produced over 200 pages of documents, but they could just really use the extra year to just pile up everything. There's a lot of expertise on the panel, and it would be a shame to not let them finish out their work before we have to wrap up this task force and start over again.
And if I recall, we use this when people are like coming off of an addiction. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, they use these substances for really breakthrough cases where other therapies haven't worked, and it's really great for our veterans community.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Of course. Thank you.
We'll call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 111 votes in the affirmative and 24 votes in the negative, House Bill number 427, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 432, Municipalities Vagrancy Repeal of Authority to Prohibit.
House Bill number 432 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel County.
Thank you, Master. Last time today, I promise.
Can I get it in writing?
You can get it in writing. It's the
Okay.
last bill, so we don't have I do have a question for the floor
Go
leader.
ahead.
Hello.
Good morning. I see that we worked on this bill in 2024. We did not work on it last year. Has anything changed since we did it 2 years ago, 2 sessions ago?
Thanks for that question. When we voted out this bill in 2024, 104 to 36, I checked it. We did not change one period, comma, or explanation point or anything else in the bill.
I appreciate that. Thanks for looking that up. I looked it up as well.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. Recognizing the gentleman from Southern Maryland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
So, a question for the floor leader.
Yes.
So, what is explain the purpose of this bill and why we have it here?
The purpose of the bill is to stop municipalities from saying that they have the power to enforce vagrancy.
So, vagrancy is like gambling. Yeah, define it for me. My understanding is it's gambling, houses of prostitution, tent cities. Is that your definition of it?
Absolutely not.
So what is the definition of it? What
We
are
don't
banning?
know. This bill, the problem with vagrancy, it is void for vagueness. We don't know what it means. We know what it was used for, but we don't know what it means.
Well, if it's being used for that, isn't that the definition of it then?
No.
So if it's being used to crack down on houses of prostitution, tent cities, and gambling, then what are we banning?
What we're banning is homelessness. We're banning folks who are unhoused.
So we're banning please elaborate on that.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So in fact, I have to do a little history if you want me to explain.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So back in 1865, with the passage of the 13th Amendment, where it free black men and boys could not be put into slavery after the passage.
Let's listen, please. Thank you so much.
Unless they committed a criminal offense. As such, vagrancy laws were widely used as a means to apprehend free black Americans, including black boys buried at Cheltenham here in Maryland. Today, black Marylanders remain disproportionately, as we all know, represented among the unhoused population and therefore are particularly vulnerable to the enforcement of vagrancy laws. So we already are seeing this playing out in Maryland, meaning that these vagrancy laws exist throughout Maryland. But the problem is that it does not pass constitutionality. It does not pass the 5th Amendment. It does not pass the 14th Amendment. Why, you may ask? Because it does not clearly state, one, it's not clearly stated in a way that a person, a law-abiding citizen, would understand what the bill means, what the word means, and what they're being charged with, and it doesn't guide courts into trying those who are accused.
So let me gather this from your definition here. We're banning the word vagrancy in municipalities from cracking down on homeless encampments from something that happened in 1865.
No.
That sums it up?
No, not at all.
I mean, it sounds like what I heard.
That's not what I said. You asked for, I had to give you a history, and I gave you a history because you said that you didn't understand what I was saying. What we are doing is actually making sure that municipalities clearly define the action that they do not want to occur, instead of merely banning someone for a state of being, and that state of being is unhoused.
Okay, so are municipalities, after this, we pass this law, are they going to have the ability to stop somebody, and let's say one of the fastest growing municipalities in the state of Maryland is in my district, Leonardtown. We have a Leonardtown Square. If someone sets up a tent city there, are they still going to have the ability to move those people and to say no to them?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
You're welcome. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded the vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 100 votes in the affirmative and 35 votes in the negative, House Bill number 432, having received a constitutional majority, is declared pass.
Madam Speaker?
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
I'd like to break the seal on vote changes.
It's my first one.
I'm so excited
It's
to do
okay.
this. We'll do it together. Okay, HB 272 to yay.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Same thing, HB 272 to green. Thank you.
You're welcome. Recognizing the gentleman from the Eastern Shore.
HB 427 from yay to nay.
Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel.
HB 164 to yay, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other? And I'm going to channel Speaker Jones, and I'm going to give myself permission to use a former delegate's name. Please make sure that you turn in those yellow slips to the clerk so that it can be properly recorded, okay? Thank you. So we have letter of reassignment. The clerk will read the letter.
House Bill 1176, reassigned to appropriations.
Hearing no, oh, sorry.
House Bill 1204, reassigned to appropriations. And House Bill 1257, reassigned to appropriations.
Hearing no objection, the letters are ordered journalized. End of session. This ends the work at the desk. Committee announcements, appropriations.
All right. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The full committee will not meet, but please listen for subcommittee announcements.
Economic matters.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Economic Matters will have bill hearings at 1 p.m. and be prepared. We have 80+ witnesses.
Ooh. Environment and Transportation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The House Environment and Transportation Committee will meet at 1 p.m. for bill hearings.
Thank you. Government, Labor, and Elections.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. GLE will meet at 1 p.m. for bill hearing.
Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The full committee, Health Committee, will be meeting at 1:30 for bill hearings. Please listen for subcommittee.
Judiciary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Judiciary will be meeting at 1 p.m. today.
Ways
Bill
and
hearings.
Means.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Ways and Means Committee will meet at 1 p.m. today for bill hearings and will vote after bill hearings. Thank you.
Before I go to subcommittee announcements, I want to thank the body, the committees, for the work that you're doing, for all the members here, for the time that you're spending on these bills, and finally, for the civil discussion on the floor. Subcommittee announcements. Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Education and Economic Development Subcommittee of Appropriations will be meeting at 1 p.m. in the Appropriations Hearing Room for
Recognizing the delegate from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Non-Energy Utilities Subcommittee of the Environment and Transportation Committee will be meeting for a work session immediately following bill hearings.
Recognizing the delegate from Howard.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Transportation and Environment Subcommittee will meet immediately after floor today in the Red Room.
Recognizing the delegate from Montgomery County, then Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Public Safety and Administration Subcommittee of Appropriations will be in room 150 for budget hearings at 1.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Subcommittee on Motor Vehicles and Transportation will meet today after E&T hearings. We will not conflict with non-utilities. Watch your texts and emails for updates.
Recognizing the delegate from Montgomery County, then Howard.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Elder Care and Long-Term Care Subcommittee of the Health Committee will be meeting over Zoom at 11:30.
Recognizing the delegate from Howard, to my right.
Right, you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I couldn't even say the lady on health because you're both on health. Go ahead.
It's tag teaming here. The Health Facilities Subcommittee will be meeting at 11:30 on Zoom.
Recognizing the other delegate from Howard.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Public Health Minority Health Disparities Subcommittee will be meeting on Zoom at 12:30.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Labor Subcommittee of the Government, Labor, and Elections Committee will be meeting at 12:15 on Zoom.
Recognizing the delegate from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Law Enforcement Subcommittee will be meeting today at 5 p.m. in room 204.
Recognizing the delegate from Montgomery.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Health and Social Services Subcommittee on Appropriations will be meeting today for budget hearings at 1 p.m. in the joint hearing room.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore County, to my left.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The K-12 Education Subcommittee will meet at 12:30 today. Thank you.
Recognizing the delegate from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Local Revenues Subcommittee for the Ways and Means Committee will be meeting today via Zoom, virtually at 12 noon. See you then.
Any other subcommittee announcements? Seeing none, we're doing now delegation announcements. Recognizing the delegate from Frederick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Frederick County delegation will meet tomorrow virtually at 9 a.m. Thank you.
You're welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Anne Arundel, then Montgomery.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Anne Arundel County delegation will meet virtually tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Thank you. Please be on time.
Recognizing the delegate from Montgomery.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Montgomery County House delegation will meet tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. virtually.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Baltimore City House delegation will meet tomorrow, Friday, at 9 a.m. virtually. Thank you.
Recognizing the delegate from the Eastern Shore.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Eastern Shore delegation will be meeting via Zoom at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Madam Speaker.
You're welcome. Recognizing the Vice Chair of the amazing Judiciary Committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Charles County delegation will meet virtually tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you.
You're welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Law Enforcement Subcommittee for the Prince George's delegation will meet today at 5 p.m. in person in room 204. And then for tomorrow morning, the full delegation will meet at 9 a.m. via Zoom. Thank you.
Recognizing the delegate from Southern Maryland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Southern Maryland delegation will meet virtually at 9.
Recognizing the very patient gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Baltimore County delegation will meet at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay, recognizing the delegate from Carroll County. No? Any other delegation announcements? Seeing none, caucus announcements. Seeing none, we have now the Black History Moment, and it will be given to us by the delegate from Baltimore County. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam
You're welcome.
Speaker. Colleagues, Black history is defined by so many courageous and amazing leaders who built and transformed this country through strength and resilience and talent. I had a hard time picking just one person, but today's Black History Moment recognizes someone who most of us, if not all of us, know. Harriet Tubman. She is one of my favorite Black female sheroes. Born into slavery on the Eastern Shore in the 1820s, she was forced into labor as a child, and her slave owners loaned her out to work for other people in dangerous conditions. We know of her as a conductor on the Underground Railroad. She risked her life to lead slaves to freedom, but she also led a combat regiment during the Civil War. They rescued hundreds of enslaved people from nearby plantations while they were under attack. She did reconnaissance work for the Union Army, and she was a nurse who cared for injured soldiers. But most importantly, she did all of this despite a traumatic head injury from her childhood caused by her slave owner. At the time, she was given little medical care or time to recuperate before she was sent back onto the plantation, out to work on the plantation. She never recovered fully from the damage done to her brain. Like many formerly enslaved Black people, she suffered lifelong pain and illness as a result of her mistreatment while she was enslaved. She was small, she was frail, and when her health began to fail, her slave owners did not have a lot of use for her. So that limited her prospects for work. But she had a new purpose, a higher calling. And she went back on a rescue mission and many rescue missions to help other enslaved people reach freedom. And the rest is Black history. I love her story. Most of us have heard it. But I love it because of the fight and the strength that she had. It's something that we can draw from, we can learn from, and we can be inspired by today. I go into the painful details of her life to make a point. We celebrate Black history not only to remember the contributions and the achievements of Black people, but we remember that many of them did so despite physical, mental, and emotional trauma. We celebrate the struggle, the triumph, the fearless spirit of Black people who contributed greatly to a country that did not always invest in them. We celebrate their faith and determination. There's so much inspiration in her story. And so many others. If I had time, I would shout out Black pioneers like Martin Luther King, who not only had a dream, he had a plan, a strategic, nonviolent approach to achieve economic empowerment and equality for Black people. I would tell you about Claudette Colvin. She was a civil rights pioneer who, along with Rosa Parks, also refused to sit in the back of the bus as a 15-year-old in 1955. She died just last month. May she rest in peace. So there are 3 things that I think we can do to truly make Black History Month happy Black History Month. 1, yes, let's talk about the contributions of Black people, and let's honor those who have helped to advance African Americans in this country. But 2, let's make sure that we continue that work. The Black Caucus has a strong legislative agenda, and we should all get behind that and support it. That's something we all can do. And 3, commit to protecting Black history. We still do not have a full account of the role of Black people in this country. Personally, as I talk about Harriet Tubman, I have to confess, just a year ago, I learned that her original last name was Araminta Ross. I did not know she shared my last name. And as I said in the beginning, she is a hero of mine. So there's so much we don't know. Important Black icons remain underrepresented or excluded entirely from mainstream education. We cannot support legislative actions to restrict, erase, or sanitize Black history. So as I close my remarks, I want to highlight the state of Black history today. It is vulnerable. Black history programming at national museums is being targeted. National monuments, exhibits, historical markers are being altered. Enslaved people's names are being removed. This is happening right now. Let's commit to continued progress and advocacy on this issue. And let's pray for the continued uplift of Black people across this state and this country. Madam Speaker, permission to use the delegate's name? I am
Permission
Delegate
granted.
Ross. Thank you. I am Delegate Ross, the first Black woman to represent my district, the great Legislative District 8, here in the House of Delegates. And I'm not perfect, but I'm proud of that. And it has been my honor to share today's Black History Moment. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. And we're glad you're here. I would like to give a shout out to my mentor, former Speaker Jones, who's the Speaker Emeritus, for her leadership and her transformative leadership in our State House. Personal or guest announcements. Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore City.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Today is a very, very powerful day because it is the very first Black Liberation Lobby Day in Annapolis. Yes, you can make some noise for that. Black Liberation Lobby Day is a partnership between Collectively, Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle, the Tubman Banneker Douglas Museum, Black Girls Vote, the Maryland Commission on African American History and Culture, and Keys Development to expose participants to an approach to advocacy that sees Black history as a resource for our current fight for liberation. Would you please join me, if you are here for Black Liberation Lobby Day and you're in the gallery, could you please stand up? I believe they're in the front gallery. And colleagues, would you please welcome our visitors and advocates in Annapolis, the wonderful House of Delegates. Welcome. They will be meeting in the Tubman Banneker Douglas Museum until 2:30 p.m. And would you please join them and stop by and say some greetings to you all. Thank you very much. You all, power to the people.
Recognizing the gentleman from Montgomery, then Frederick.
Thank you, Madam
You're
Speaker.
welcome.
I want to recognize two special friends and constituents from the 17th District who were here in the gallery earlier. I think they just had to sneak out. From Shaarei Torah congregation in Gaithersburg, which is my family's congregation. We had Rabbi David Helfand, who gave a beautiful prayer in the Senate chamber this morning. And we also had the executive director of the congregation, Matt Oziel. Thank you.
I apologize. I promised to call the very patient lady from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Joining us in the gallery today is the freshman class of the esteemed Law and Public Policy Countywide Magnet Program hosted at Towson High. They're here today to watch our work, learn more ways to use their powers to empower, and maybe someday fill our seats. Please join me in welcoming them.
Welcome. Recognizing now the gentleman from Frederick. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam
You're
Speaker. In the back gallery, friends, we have a special guest. We have some special guests here today from the Yunshai Primary School in Hebei Province, China, led by their principal, Principal Yu, and teachers Alicia Yang and Lillian Zhang. We have multiple students from their 5th and 6th grader class. They're hosted here today by the Asian American Center of Frederick County, led by their amazing executive director and someone who I deem a dear friend and call mom affectionately, Elizabeth Chang. They wish a happy new year, a happy Lunar New Year. And AACF is the organization that continues to uplift the most vulnerable communities through workforce development, healthcare access, and seniors aging in place. Colleagues, please join me in welcoming these wonderful friends from China and our friends from the Asian American Center of Frederick.
Welcome. Recognizing the lady from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to also welcome my niece who goes to Towson, Mercedes Cooper. She's up in the gallery as well.
Welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Howard.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Will the House please join me in welcoming the woman from D13 who has been shadowing me all this week. The reason I'm here today, please give it up for the lady with the pink hair, my mom, Alice Pham.
Welcome. Welcome. Recognizing the chair of the Health Committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, today we are pleased to welcome members of the Maryland Pharmacy Coalition as they join us for their 26th annual legislative day. They will be blanketing Annapolis in their white coats. The coalition represents pharmacists, pharmacy technicians, and student pharmacists from across our state who are dedicated to strengthening patient care, expanding access to essential health services, and supporting the safe and effective use of medications in our communities. They're here to be part of our legislative process and to experience the essential role of advocacy and the role it plays in supporting patients and advancing their profession. So please join me in recognizing the members of the Maryland Pharmacy Coalition who are with us today.
Welcome.
Madam
Recognizing
Speaker.
the gentleman from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, please welcome Reverend Regina Clay, a resident of District 12A, a former member of the Democratic Central Committee who is also here for Delta Day in Annapolis. Give her a warm welcome.
Welcome.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the delegate, the chair of the Judiciary Committee, then the chair of the Women's Caucus.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today is the MSBA Advocacy at Work Day, and they will be coming through and visiting with you all. We may have members here. I'm not sure, but would you just welcome them when they come in with their advocacy? Thank you.
Thank you for being patient. Recognizing the chair of the Women's Caucus.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Permission to use the delegate's name?
Permission granted.
Thank you. Colleagues, on behalf of Delegate Baylor and myself, I have the pleasure of introducing the Doctor of the Day. From right here in Annapolis in District 38, Dr. Paula Radon, please stand. A gynecologist. A gynecologist who was in private practice here in the Anne Arundel County area for over 20 years and now resident teaching at gynecology clinic at Luminous with DCMC right here in Annapolis. Thank you so much and welcome.
Welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Prince George's and chair of the Prince George's County delegation.
Thank you. I have a correction to an earlier delegation announcement. The Law Enforcement Subcommittee will meet today in room 207 at 5 p.m. to room 207. Thank you.
Any other personal or guest announcements? Seeing none, quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? The clerk will take the call. There being 134 members present, the House is still in session. Recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Move that the House stands adjourned until Friday, February 20th at 11 o'clock a.m. Legislative date, February